Wisdom teeth. Thousands of years ago, humans chewed on tough roots, raw plants, and half-cooked meat. Their jaws were wide, powerful, and built for survival. Wisdom teeth, that third row of molars, were essential backup crushers for a time when dinner fought back. Fast forward to modern humans. Our food is soft, cut, cooked, sliced, blended, and softened by utensils instead of effort. Our jaws shrank, but evolution forgot to cancel the wisdom tooth subscription. Now they show up late, crowd your mouth, and start chaos like angry tenants looking for space that no longer exists. Impactions, infections, swelling, and the legendary post-extraction videos where people confess their entire life story under anesthesia. Here's the twist. Millions of people don't even grow wisdom teeth anymore, a sign that evolution is slowly phasing them out. But if yours still came in, congratulations. You're carrying prehistoric hardware designed for cavemen, not smoothies and salads. And just like wisdom teeth represent a downgraded feature, the next organ is another abandoned upgrade, a leftover eyelid that never got the chance to function. The third eyelid. Take a look in the mirror and check the inner corner of your eye, that little pink fold sitting there like unused equipment. That's the plica semilunaris, the leftover scraps of a third eyelid. In many animals, this structure is a fully functional nictitating membrane, a sideways sliding eye shield that protects, cleans, and moisturizes without blocking vision. Falcons blink with it mid-dive at 200 mph. Woodpeckers activate it milliseconds before smashing their beaks into a tree. Cats and dogs use theirs like built-in safety goggles. Humans? We got the demo version. Our third eyelid no longer moves, no longer protects, no longer sweeps across the eye like a biological windshield wiper. It just sits there, contributing a bit to tear drainage and looking like evolution tried something, then got distracted. Meanwhile, tons of other species still enjoy the full feature set. Sharks, camels, reptiles, birds, even your dog. But humans? We're stuck with the decorative corner flap. And if you think that's useless, wait until you hear about the next leftover organ, a digestive relic that used to help us survive on plants tougher than leather. Appendix. Imagine being a prehistoric human, chewing on plants so tough they made raw kale look like dessert. Back then, the appendix was essential, a fermentation chamber filled with bacteria that helped break down cellulose, the rigid structure in plant cell walls. It was basically a built-in compost bin, turning rough greens into usable fuel. But as humans evolved bigger brains and better cooking methods, our diets softened. Fire did the digesting for us. Suddenly, the appendix didn't have much to do. Over time, it shrank into a narrow, finger-like tube dangling off the large intestine, too small to help and just big enough to cause problems. Today, the appendix's most famous job is random medical emergency. Appendicitis strikes about 1 in 10 people, turning a quiet weekend into a sprint to the ER. Surgeons joke it's the least reliable organ in the human body, but a great source of consistent business. Still, evolution hasn't completely deleted it. Modern research suggests the appendix might act as a backup reservoir for good gut bacteria, restocking the microbiome after severe infections. Not essential, but not entirely useless either. A former digestive powerhouse turned unpredictable drama generator. And speaking of organs that once mattered and now mostly cause inconvenience, take a look at the small lumps in the back of your throat, the tonsils. Tonsils. Open your mouth wide and look at the back of your throat. Those soft, lumpy bulges on either side are your palatine tonsils, tiny immune outposts stationed right at the front doors of your airway. In childhood, tonsils work overtime. They sample incoming germs, help train the immune system, and act as early warning sensors, teaching the body what to fight. Specialized immune cells inside them store danger profiles, like biological flashcards. But here's the twist. By adulthood, tonsils shrink. Their immune role fades, and the rest of your lymphatic system learns to do their job better. That's why millions of kids had their tonsils removed in the mid-1900s. It was practically a school tradition, and most people who lose them never miss them. Other tissues pick up the slack without hesitation. So, why do we still have them? Because evolution rarely deletes features that are harmless enough to keep around. Tonsils become throat clutter, relics of your childhood immune system that refuse to pack their bags and leave. And speaking of relics, the next structure is even older, a fossil from the era when humans had tails. Tailbone. Long before humans walked upright or wore shoes, our ancestors had tails, real, functional tails used for balance, climbing, and navigating through trees. As we moved from swinging in branches to walking on 2 legs, the tail became unnecessary. But evolution never fully erased it. What's left is the coccyx, or tailbone, a tiny cluster of fused vertebrae tucked at the bottom of your spine. It's the biological equivalent of a deleted app that still leaves an icon on your screen. Today, the tailbone doesn't do much. A few muscles anchor to it, and it helps distribute weight when you sit. But if surgeons remove it entirely, nothing dramatic happens. Your posture remains the same, your movement stays normal, and your life continues uninterrupted. Every human embryo even grows a tiny tail for a few weeks, a brief cameo appearance before your genes hit the remove tail button. Occasionally, babies are born with small, harmless tail-like nubs, proof that evolution sometimes forgets to clean up its drafts. The coccyx is a fossil embedded in your anatomy, a leftover from a version of the human body that climbed trees instead of scrolling phones. And if you think that's strange, the next leftover isn't even a bone or organ. It's a network of tiny muscles that once made us look bigger and warmer. Goosebump muscles. Ever get chilled and see tiny bumps rise across your skin? That's your erector pili muscles kicking in, microscopic muscle fibers attached to every hair follicle. When they contract, the hair stands upright and you get goosebumps. Today, it's mostly a party trick your skin performs whenever you're cold, emotional, or listening to a song that hits way too hard. But in our fur-covered ancestors, this reflex was serious survival tech. Raising body hair created a layer of warm air for insulation, nature's version of a heated jacket. It also made animals look larger and more intimidating when threatened, the same way a startled cat puffs up like a balloon with attitude. Humans, however, lost most of their body hair along the evolutionary road. So when our erector pili flex, the result is less ferocious beast and more mildly uncomfortable mammal. Still, the muscles aren't entirely useless. Research suggests they help maintain healthy hair follicles and might even play a role in hair regrowth. So every goosebump you've ever had is basically your skin performing routine maintenance, functional in theory, funny in practice. And speaking of muscles evolution forgot to delete, the next ones are sitting right on the sides of your head, waiting for you to fail at wiggling your ears. Ear muscles. Try this. Raise your eyebrows. Easy. Now try to wiggle your ears. If you can, congratulations. You're part of the small percentage of humans who kept a genetic party trick. If nothing happens, don't worry. Your ears aren't broken. The muscles are just unemployed. These are the auricular muscles, tiny bands that connect the outer ear to the side of your head. In many animals, cats, dogs, horses, they act as rotating satellite dishes, swiveling the ears toward rustling predators, distant footsteps, or tasty prey. Early humans likely used them too, but as our hearing evolved and our environment changed, we stopped relying on ear rotation. Instead of adjusting our ears, we simply turned our heads. The muscles lost their job, but never got fired. They still show tiny sparks of activity in modern humans, especially in noisy places. Your brain tries to aim your ears like a cat, but the hardware can't keep up. The instinct is there. The execution? Not so much. If you're one of the few who can wiggle them intentionally, congrats. You've unlocked an evolutionary Easter egg most people never access. And speaking of leftover features with no clear purpose, the next one sits right on the chest. A design choice evolution kept simply because it was too harmless to remove. Male nipples. Every human starts with the same blueprint. Before the body decides whether to develop male or female traits, the nipples are already formed, installed early in the construction process, long before hormones choose the final model. It's like building a car before deciding whether it'll be electric or gas-powered, but the cup holders are already in. For males, nipples don't serve a major purpose. They rarely produce milk, though rare cases of male lactation do exist. And in a few species, like certain bats, males can actually nurse their young, proving the biological machinery can work under the right hormonal conditions. About 1 to 5% of humans even have extra nipples, tiny freckles along the milk lines that run down the torso. Most people never notice them. A few celebrities, like Harry Styles, have famously sported the evolutionary bonus pack. So why didn't evolution delete them? Because evolution is lazy. If a feature isn't dangerous or wasteful, it tends to stick around. Male nipples don't harm anyone, cost almost no energy, and occasionally surprise dermatologists, so nature never saw a reason to remove them. A harmless artifact, a biological shrug. See in the next video. And one of many leftover structures humans still carry, like the hollow chambers inside your skull that cause more trouble than they solve.